Well, as you can only imagine, many people who grow up in poverty dream only of escaping to a more prosperous life or nation, as we've seen just lately in the migrant crisis happening in Europe. But my guest today, David Mensah, did just that. He left his home country of Ghana and he built himself a new life in Canada. But it wasn't enough. He's here with his daughter, Deborah, to tell us why he went back. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
And David, that is your story. You were growing up, you were an orphan in Ghana with 11 other orphans, and the 11 of you made a pact. Tell me about, what was that pact?
Well, we made a pact that we've suffered enough, we've gone through a lot, and the pact was for us to go wherever we can to really study hard and then come back home and take people from the streets, from hunger, and from degradation like we went through. And we supported each other to go to school. Sometimes you went to school for a few years and stopped so that the other can go. You worked for the other person to go. Wow. And we've done that for many years, but God has been good. And we are all finished and we are back home working.
So, you know, a lot of people, I think, in youthful idealism, you know, make this pledge, like, we're going to get out of poverty and we're going to come back and help people. But once you taste another life, once you escape that life, sometimes it's hard for people to want to go back. You know, in all 11 of you kept that pledge. What was driving you that you didn't just, you know, enjoy your life here in Canada?
I think it's probably, you know, after you've smelled poverty and if you tasted it and felt it, it's real. It's really real. And you're right. I did a PhD here in University of Toronto, and I had offerings to lecture in universities here. And at some point, my heart told me, hey, you know, you can be a top dog at some point.
Yeah.
But my heart told me, no, you've got to go back home. Remember some of the places you went searching for food. There are a lot more in Ghana doing that, going through gutters and garbage cans sometimes. And the more I thought about that, the more I turned down the offers that I got here in Canada to go. And my colleagues were also doing the same thing. It's something I just think that after you've gone through a life like I did, you've got to be cold-hearted to really not want to help.
Yeah. You know, I'd love to unpack your story. You have an incredible story of growing up, of, you know, your dad dying and being with family members who are witch doctors and abuse and homelessness. And, you know, you are a survivor. And, you know, Deborah, you've grown up with your dad's story, seeing his heart and his work in Ghana. You live here in Canada now. What is your impression watching what he's done with his life?
Well, I think it's definitely contributed to my professional goals and my education, knowing that, once again, I want to carry the torch and I want to be as effective as I can in northern Ghana to especially bring health care to marginalized and vulnerable populations. Because I've seen the impact of my dad and my mom's work there, and I want to carry it on. I want to make sure that the people in my country, in northern Ghana, receive what they are deserve.
Well, you know, one of the things that stands out about the great work you've done, David, is sustainability, which is one of my favorite words. That's what John Hall always tells me anyway. My favorite word is sustainable development. But you're really committed to that idea. You do work in food security and water and peacemaking and right. Healthcare and so many different areas, but you're always looking at something that's sustainable. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, I've seen a lot also. One time I worked with the Canada Fund for half of the country of Ghana, and that gave me opportunity to go around. And you know, I visited a lot of countries as well in Africa. And my heart normally just breaks. I go and see a project that could have worked well for people, but quite often money is thrown into some of these projects. They are ill-planned, and then at the end of it, people are set back more than they were before. So for us, our DNA for the work we do is, if we cannot support the program, if we don't have the resources to, you know, for it to go 50, 30 years, 60 years, then don't get into it. You know, you've got to plan it well so that you can hand it over to the community and live and come back 10 years and still see the project maybe better than when you were there. That's the goal. And it works. because the people that you are dealing with, when they find that it's in their interest for this you're doing, and you get them involved, it will work.
And they own it.
They own it.
Yeah.
But if you're there with money, and you think you're going to fix it with money, the rural people are very clever. They will take the money, they will, they will take it. But when you go, the windows are breaking, and they'll wait for you to come back and fix them up. And we don't want to do that. We don't have the money to begin with. So the little that we want it to do more.
And I think it's something about the heart of Jesus, that you want to raise people up out of poverty. You want to give them dignity. You want to speak to their worth and realize that they have something to offer in that project, And I think I've seen that in our work in Africa. People, they get so disheartened because people come and make big promises, and then they run out of money, or the founder dies, or they move on, and people feel very abandoned and forgotten. And so then you have to win their trust and say, no, we're actually in this with you. We're going to work together, and we're not going to leave you. How significant is that?
Very significant. The issues that are in the third world are they are enormous. And so if you don't plan well, you get very discouraged. There are a lot of problems going on. But I think careful planning and getting the people involved, and I've been an orphan, in the streets, and I've been able to do a lot. But and I know people who are more intelligent than me in the rural areas. So it's just so stupid to go and think you've got it all.
Yeah.
And go there. There are a lot of people who really want to address their needs. We started with 10 bags of peanuts, for instance, and gave it to women to start, and just show them that this is the way to do our technical knowledge. Today, that 10 bags of peanut, we never put money into it anymore, but that 10 bags is now helping 8,000 women.
Wow.
Because we make it such that every woman that we give a bag to, every year we take 3 bags and keep 2 bags for her. She cracks one to sew, another one to sell for cash. The third one we give to another woman.
Start another project.
So it's sustainable. It's sustaining. We are not putting new money into it. And it's going to be 10,000, 20,000, just the 10 bags we started. It's just going.
That's amazing. A lot of people don't realize that the entrepreneurial spirit of people in the developing world. We were talking before the show. I said, we would give somebody, one project like that where they could make a little money, and before we knew it, they had 8 businesses going.
That's
Like,
right.
there's just such a desire to be self-sufficient and work. Sometimes they just need that little bit of help, which is why you pledged to come back.
Exactly.
Deborah, you've got involved with the healthcare that this organization does. It's called NEA in Ghana, and here in Canada it's GRID, which supports the work. You got involved because you saw one of your aunts die in childbirth from something simple that could have been fixed, and then her baby, which is so common. Tell me about that.
Exactly. So it was my dad's younger sister, Kwabena, who died of eclampsia in pregnancy, and she had done absolutely everything right. For a woman who couldn't read or write, she was attending her antenatal appointments, taking her multivitamins, but she still died because a very simple medication was not available to her at the point of service. And the Ghana Health Service continues to work hard to try and meet the local need, but it's still inadequate. It's still under-resourced. And we see in Ghana, we lose upwards of 28,000 newborns every year. And you ask a woman in northern Ghana how many live births she's had and how many live children she's had, and the numbers never match because most families have suffered a newborn loss. And so communities were seeing this. We don't want to lose our babies. We don't want to lose these precious ones that we know are so valuable to God. And they're saying, how do we change this? And so we worked with community volunteers to do home visits on newborns to try and catch danger signs to ensure that they were promptly taken care of at local health facilities. And by God's grace, we've reduced neonatal mortality by 80% in these communities that this program has been implemented. And it's really being responsive to local need, as the Lord has always shown us, led by example, responding to local need and not being prescriptive, but working with communities to meet those needs.
I love hearing that, and you are in the process now of launching one of your biggest projects ever.
That's right.
You're going to build a hospital in northern Ghana. Tell me about that.
It's just like we've been doing everything possible, preventive medicine, but there is time for curative as well, and we've come to that point now. The place we've helped so much, but we still have cases where people are dying needlessly. I think Deborah knows a lot more than I do on this, but the ratio of our people per doctor is just appalling. It's like one doctor to about 60,000 people in northern Ghana,
wow,
which is not acceptable. But one of our projects is we've been sponsoring students to go and do medicine and nursing and dentistry. So last year, my first student graduated as a medical doctor. My last daughter will soon be graduating and as a medical doctor. And we've already trained them, they are ready. And so our doctors, our nurses are all ready, and we just think it's time now for us to put a model hospital in the name of Jesus, that people will come and see what real health care is, how it is to care for people, and to bring in resources that will not fade off, that people can be cured.
I love
this
the
is where we
plan
are.
that you've done. You already have the nurses and the doctors. You're raising them up before you even have built the hospital.
right.
That's that long-term
Long-term
sustainability. I love it. So if people want to find out more about your wonderful work, what's the website?
Go to www.nea-grid.org. You can find out more and support the hospital if you are interested, and come visit us in northern Ghana.
Oh, wonderful. We love the work you guys are doing. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Great.
I just pray it continues to multiply and be sustainable.
Thank you.